What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Getting the first dub of the season. It might be preseason, but the Chiefs still getting it done. 38-10 out in Arizona, the place where they actually won the Super Bowl. So some good mojo for Kansas City. Now rolling into preseason game number 3 next weekend before they kick things off, of course, with the regular season. Open it up on Thursday Night Football, hosting the Lions in Kansas City. Now, thanks for joining us here in Kansas City Sports Network. We are at the Kingdom Bar, which is under new management. We got a whole new regime here this coming season. This is the place that you want to be for the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs season. The place to be, the people to see, everything we're going to have for you on, of course, Kansas City Sports Network. And right now we're going to break down what just happened in preseason game number 2. Talk about the 3 quarterbacks we saw, in what order, who scored those touchdowns, and everything you need to know. It's coming up here on the Postgame Show.
Cheers to that. 38-10 Chiefs win. That was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun drinking this Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon right now. What's up, everybody? Ken Swanson, Tucker D. Franklin.
Cheers.
Cheers, my man. It is it's fun to be here watching this game. Happy Saturday night to all of you. Thank you for everyone that is hanging out with us tonight. I know that I know there's other things you could be doing on a Saturday night. We appreciate you all hanging out with us for sure. Breaking down this Chiefs win. 38-10. It looked like week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals in the regular season last year. It was an absolute blowout, and everyone kind of got involved. It was up and down the roster. A lot of people getting involved. A lot of people having fun today.
Right. I know that when we first started watching this game, there was a little nerves going on when we first started watching this game. And then Patrick Mahomes happened. They scored a touchdown. They got into a rhythm. It felt a whole lot better watching this game. When some scoring happened, we got to see Patrick Mahomes finally score a touchdown.
That was nice.
But you're right. It was a good game overall. A nice, I always love these low pressure, low stakes games. Those are my favorite. And we got one of those today, preseason, but also the Chiefs playing well. Always great.
I think it's kind of funny. Like Mahomes was talking a little about the energy, last week. Just early on in the game, it was kind of low energy. I felt the low energy just from myself personally trying to watch the beginning of that game because it was really sluggish out the gates. I mean, the defense was doing some good things. I mean, the Chiefs railed off 17 points before the Cardinals even put anything on the board. But I mean, it kind of was sluggish off the top. It was fun to see them kind of get going late in the game. We'll talk to Craig and Maddie a little bit more about the first team unit and all that stuff. There's plenty of storylines to talk about, though, with this game. One of them being the fact that all 3 quarterbacks that the Chiefs, well, all 4 quarterbacks all 4 quarterbacks look great. 3 in particular, Patrick Mahomes, 10 of 15, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Shane Buechele going second.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, 105 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Blaine Gabbert just comes in 7 of 8, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like every quarterback did something fun, did something good, and they were all incredibly efficient.
Right.
It was, it was kind of a surprise. There's a lot to unpack with those 3, but all 3 look great.
Is it time to have a conversation, Kent?
I think it might be. It might be time to have a little bit of a QB2 conversation. Maybe even QB1. Shane Buechele went 10 out of 10.
You can't listen. You can't discount what Shane did today. Big game Shane is what they're calling him around the streets. 10 for 10, 105 yards in that scramble touchdown too. Incredible awareness from Shane there. Some good stuff all around from Shane Buechele. Was really impressed with his performance. What did you think about Shane today?
I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you ignore the first possession that he had where, against the Saints last week where he put 2 balls at risk, one actually winds up being intercepted. If you just if you isolate that first series, everything after this has looked really impressive. A lot of command, control, confidence. And it's fascinating to me, at least. It's raising some not red flags. It's raising some stuff for me that they wanted to see Shane Buechele play with the first team unit and see what he did, how he responded against better competition.
Yeah.
And what he did is have complete command of the offense. He got the ball out of his hands in time. He got the ball in the hands of his playmakers and gave them chances to make plays too. Yeah. And literally was perfect. And then caps it off with an outstanding touchdown run too. Something there with Shane Buechele. You know, we kind of talked about like the comparison for me has been just Case Keenum, the way that he kind of operates and the way he kind of plays. There's some similarities to me personally. Stature too, but he's impressing me. And you're starting to see why the Chiefs have intentionally held on to him the last 2 years.
Right.
I think you're starting to see that a little bit.
I know that you've brought this up a lot, where it seems like, they have intentionally brought him on. Is it a possibility that they do hold 3 quarterbacks? Because I don't know, especially after a performance like this today, is he making it past the waiver wire? Can they let him drop? Can they drop him and think that he can be back on this waiver wire?
I think there's a question to have about whether they ever weren't going to keep 3, because like they believe in him. Like they've always believed in him. And like, I think that's why you've seen him held onto the roster the last 2 years. And you could have the conversation if they keep 2, and it could be Mahomes and Buechele. Maybe they do feel good about him and his ability to take reins of this offense and be in control of this offense. It's at least making me have the question because of where he went in the pecking order this week. And no one's been talking. And the funny thing is, I don't think anybody's really been talking about it or treating it like a QB2 controversy. Feels like it's been pretty, sequential. Hey, QB1. Oh, okay, obviously Patrick Mahomes. But like it always feels like it's Blaine Gabbert with the 2s, Shane Buechele with the 3s. They're just jumping him into the 2s today.
Yeah.
It's something. It's worth paying attention to for me.
It's interesting too, and I think the conversation would be a little bit. There'd be more to the conversation if Blaine Gabbert didn't go and also have a pretty decent day himself.
Lead the team in passing yards, completion percent. Not completion percentage, because Shane went 10 out of 10 touchdowns. Right. I mean, he had 158.3 rating, which means absolutely nothing. It's a very pointless stat, but it's also like as good as you can possibly get.
Yeah. No, I was very impressed with all the quarterback plays you mentioned. 2 touchdowns from Blaine Gabbert, a couple good throws there, and even in that play to Amir Smith-Marset, a good route from Amir. Amir had himself a day too. That could be another thing we could talk about here early on, but a good play from him all around. And yeah, I really like what Blaine Gabbert showed. Maybe I'm biased, right? I'm a Mizzou guy. I like Blaine Gabbert, but I thought he showed pretty well today.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he's the known commodity in the group, right? And like, so like, and maybe a little bit of just giving some run with the 2s or with the 1s for Shane Buechele was just, Blaine Gabbert's a known commodity, but also like, wouldn't you want your QB to be getting those opportunities with the 1s, in this kind of setting? Like, this is exactly why you do that, and you get Mahomes off the, I don't know. It seemed like a pretty crucial window of time that this team is using to kind of evaluate and stuff, and they chose to give Shane Buechele the shot. So like that was interesting to me. The receivers, you want to talk about Amir Smith-Marset. I want to talk about all the young receivers because Rashee Rice, Justin Ross both have drops on their first targets. But in the case of Rashee Rice, his bounce back was exceptional. Like, he was really good after dropping an RPO slant in the first possession. Obviously, you would wish that the opportunities with Mahomes were more clean, because you're going to try to build that trust with Rashee. But man, afterwards, he did a lot better catching the ball, and moving after the catch was really impressive too.
Yeah, I was just looking at the receiving numbers. 18 different receivers actually were targeted in this game. Very funny when you start to look at all the guys that were targeted in the game. Rashee Rice, as you mentioned, 96 yards, 8 receptions on the day. Amir Smith-Marset, as I mentioned, 92 yards. That touchdown pass that he did catch, 4 receptions for Amir Smith-Marset. Matt Bushman, a guy that we have kind of been trying to talk about a little bit when it comes to tight end, probably 4, I would say, if they wanted to keep a 4th tight end in there, having 30 yards on 2 catches. So 2 big plays for Matt Bushman there. Incredibly interesting when it comes to all of the receivers that were targeted in this game.
I tweeted out roughly 8,000 players caught passes today. I mean, the ball was like that's what happens when the ball isn't dropping on the ground very much. 31 out of 38 for the quarterbacks today, 393 yards, 3 touchdowns, average 10.3 yards per attempt. That is absurd. That is ridiculous numbers.
Again, as you mentioned at the top of the show, it was like week 1 against the
Cardinals
all over again.
I mean, like, that's the funny thing. It's like, this is exactly what the Chiefs did to the Cardinals in week 1 of the regular season just I mean, they might have started a little slow too, if I remember correctly.
It was almost the same exact script.
They started slow, they weren't good, and then they just proceeded to just absolutely eviscerate the Cardinals.
Right.
Different regime, but like, I mean, they were dominating that game. But yeah, it was the same thing. Any other big things that like stuck out to you about this? Like, I think we've talked about the two big ones: the quarterback controversy of the century, the wide receivers kind of bouncing back and showing some stuff. Anything else big to you, Tuck, that kind of that stood out?
When you talk about the running backs, the big thing this week was Lamichael Piran. Lamichael Piran was getting a lot of run this week in terms of training camp. He got the most carries, tied with Deneric Prince. Both had 6 carries. He had 41 yards. No touchdowns, but Deneric Prince did get 20 yards and a touchdown. So I think they're just trying to see what they got with Lamichael Piran.
Yeah.
I really think that's what's going on there. I know he got a lot of reps. They're in a weird situation when it comes to running backs right now because you talk about Isaiah Pacheco is that number one guy, but he's not cleared for contact yet.
Yeah.
Edwards-Helaire, they're not gonna risk him in case Isaiah Pacheco can't get cleared for contact. They want to have him ready. They know what they have in Jerick McKinnon. He's kind of getting a little older, so they don't really want to necessarily burn him too much into the ground. So a lot of these running backs during camp, especially, has been Lamichael Piran and Deneric Prince. And sometimes Jerron Ely's gotten in there as well, but it seems like Jerron Ely's doing a little bit more wide receiver than he is running back. So just seeing those two guys get the bulk of the carries. Now, not a lot of carries, 12 carries between the both of them. But seeing those guys get the carries there is interesting.
I mean, it's an evaluation process for them, and you can say not a ton of carries. They also both led the team in carries.
That's true.
I mean, they weren't giving a ton of evaluation to the running back position, I don't think. I mean, you look at how much they actually wound up throwing the ball. I mean, they threw it at let me do the quick math, at 67% clip, near 70% clip. They're slinging the ball around the yard. And like, hey, look, the biggest pressing needs for this team are trying to evaluate the wide receiver position and get some reps. I kind of get it. You want to try to get some of those out there just so you're kind of, getting these guys looks. Kind of makes sense if you really think about it. You just want to try to, evaluate that group and getting a high volume of targets and quality targets, because the ball wasn't dropping very much.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I know of 2 drops that we saw of the 7 incompletions. The quarterbacks were on fire today.
It was a good quarterback day, and it was. I know a lot of concerns about the turf as well. That came up. Turf seemed like it was holding fine. I think Andy Reid even said that it was gripping fine when he talked to the Cardinals. It's a weird situation over there in Arizona. They practice on it, gets a lot of use. So, really great overall game to see, especially after that first preseason. To see a little bit of offensive explosion like this was nice.
And it started a little scary. Obviously, and I think there's still probably a few conversations to be had about the sluggish start, and if it means anything, we can talk about that a little bit with Craig and Maddie too. But the bounce back and everyone just getting hot and going scorched earth. They're treating it like it was KC this week and today.
Yeah,
like they just went scorched earth, just like Kansas City is right now. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Cheers, everybody. Hey, Hayley. Welcome back into the mix here.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good seeing you. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Tucker got a little facelift, right?
Yeah. No, he had some work done.
It's beat me by 5 years, so it's okay. He said something about Jerick McKinnon being so young, and I was like, man. All right, I'll take a drink for that.
Oh, thanks everybody hanging out with us.
I love Tuck. I love you. Just playing games, anyways.
We're having a good time.
Hey, the Chiefs won.
They won by a lot.
That's nice. I think the Cardinals just suck too.
There's probably a debate to be had about whether the Cardinals are just terrible.
Strong possibility.
I'm trying to think of I don't feel like the rush got home very much today. Like the pass rush, it's almost like the Chiefs beat them without a pass rush today. So I don't know.
Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that the things transpired the way that they did, though. Right? That's the best way to say it.
It's yes.
Good things happen. We also have friends who are going to talk about good things, and the friends who are coming onto the show would be, I've heard of this guy named Matt, this guy named Craig, and they tend to know some things. Look, and there they are.
Oh,
help us out because we don't know much. Because there's just honestly about 3 drives into this thing, I didn't have much more to say.
You guys are asking us to know things. I don't know about that. I think that's all Craig's department. That's all Craig.
No,
we can just sit here and just watch Craig tell us everything.
No,
Well-
listen, about 3 drives of the game is all the Chiefs needed in this one to show us that
Backs me up.
that they were fine. The offense was fine. That third drive, I think everybody that was holding their breath through those first 2 and being like, "Oh, damn it, it's happening again." It was all fine after that third drive. That's all we really needed to see in this one.
See?
Well, didn't we
Wavelength.
get a crossbody Mahomes throw on one of the first 2 possessions too to Travis Kelce? That was one of the ones they didn't score, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe we did. And we got the one where he was out of bounds and he threw it across his body and
Yes.
almost completed it. Like we got some vintage Mahomes there.
But if we're talking about it, I think the biggest thing to take away from this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the fact that last week it came out, it took a while to get rolling. Here, Reed gave them a little more time to get things rolling. And I'm glad that he did give them the amount of time that he did, because it took them until those 3 drives to really get it going. And like you're saying, sprinkle a little razzle dazzle on there, and then they finally found the Riz.
I just think it's funny that we are this far into the Mahomes, experience that we barely talked about Mahomes for the first 15 minutes, and he did 2 kind of fun, ridiculous things. And
Yeah.
we didn't even, because
We're
we're too
like,
busy
"Meh."
talking about Shane Buechele and Blaine Gabbert.
Preseason.
It is preseason.
Cheers to that.
Maddie, what do you take of the sluggish start? Anything, or are you just glad to see him get back on track? What is it?
I mean, after last week, I think it was just nice to see them come out with that sluggish start and then given the time, like be able to turn it around and be able to pull themselves out of it. And I guess this week was probably a little different than last week, because last week they just didn't look good. There were drops, there were penalties. Like, it just didn't look like a good start from some silly stuff. And then you're getting the vintage Mahomes stuff. You get Travis Kelce gets involved a little bit. They're throwing to all these different wide receivers who, some are dropping the ball, but they're sticking to it. So it was nice to see this Chiefs offense start to look like the Chiefs offense that we have come to know. I don't think there was ever a concern it wasn't going to be it. It's just nice to see that when it all comes together. And it was really nice to see some young guys and some of these receivers not start off great and then rebound throughout the game and come out and have good performances on top of it.
I say we jump into the receiver conversation.
We like
Do
that.
it.
I mean, I wished everybody a happy Rashee Rice, Justin Ross Day for those who celebrate earlier today. And it got off to a real rough start. Like, it got off to a real rough start. Both of them having a drop. It was fun to see. We can talk about both, and just like they both got run with the ones.
Mhm.
They both got some opportunities there. Rashee dropped his slant route to start things off. But specifically Rashee, Craig, watching him bounce back and do what he did the rest of that half and the rest of that game really was really fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what you want to see from a young receiver. And I think it's fun to watch what they're doing with Rashee. I joked at about halftime that it would be easier to count the number of alignments that he didn't align in, or the amount of routes that he didn't run with this offense. I love that they're giving him the ball. I love that they're, really implicitly trusting him to do what's right. That means a ton for an Andy Reid rookie. And the fact that they're exercising him in all those roles means a lot. I like that they also went back to that RPO, that slant again. He was able to make a guy miss, juke another guy in the open field, create some extra yardage. It was all positive after that first drop, really. And even the stuff that wasn't like super big, big impactful plays, it was still awesome to watch him get out there, watch him get run with the ones, see him integrated into the offense. I think we've got a very clear vision now all of a sudden what Rashee Rice is going to mean to this offense. I don't know that we do from some of the other wide receivers. It has me excited about them as well. But I think we see Rashee Rice is not just going to be one type of guy for this offense. He's going to mean a lot and align in a lot of different ways. And I think that that's going to give some defenses fits. And I'm excited for him. I'm excited that he was able to bounce back and have the day that he did after a rough drop in the opening position.
And I think to that point, that's something that we saw last season in the preseason and even in the regular season. Remember what happened with Sky Moore? It wasn't great. It wasn't great for a while either, but things did eventually get better because, and I don't know if it's just being hard-headed or coaches knowing what they're actually doing, but continuing to put those players in to get those reps and bounce back from it. The mentality and the mental game of football, especially at this level, is such a key point of emphasis. And to say that you're able to bounce back from that, to get right back into the game, to pick it up, shake it off, and Shake it off. Shake it off.
This is what this show's always been missing right here, actually. So like this is what we
I
needed.
brought
More,
it.
we needed more singing. Exactly. This is what we needed. I'm ready for this now.
It was so similar to the original that we might get in trouble for copyright.
That's
So
pitch perfect.
I
Couldn't
didn't even know it was
couldn't-
you singing. I thought she
couldn't
was
tell
here.
anything different.
would have ever known.
Maddie, Justin
Save
Ross.
us.
I want to talk to Justin Ross, Maddie. Like, just, I mean,
Yeah, he plays for the
drop,
Chiefs.
rough, had some time with the ones. They gave him some opportunities, a little bit of volume, 2 catches, 18 yards. Just what do you think about Justin Ross today?
I thought he had another good performance. He came out, there was that early drop on that low throw. It was a difficult one to make, and then he rebounds, has the nice little pivot route, and then he gets opened towards the corner of the end zone later on. It's like it was another solid performance from Ross. I do think, like, as Craig was talking about to Rishi Rice, he's being given a lot on his plate. Rice's a lot of different stuff. Ross's role seems to be a little bit more defined. And I do think that's going to make it a little bit trickier to really break out onto the field. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, for him to find footing as you get to the regular season. But what we are seeing is a guy that is healthy, who can clearly play at the NFL level like everybody always thought if he was healthy, and the flashes are clearly there. So the future is still looking very bright for Ross. I just do think that, we got to be a little careful with that hype train that's definitely rolling. His usage is a little more limited than what some of the other guys are, and he is operating in that kind of spot where MVS or Justin Watson are already playing. And hey, both those guys looked well when they were getting targets early on in the game as well.
I think
no. Hype train is off the rails, Maddie. Hype train's off the rails. Did you see that whip route? That whip route was
nice.
It
was cooked. I think Justin Ross is in Sharpie. Yeah. I'll say it. Sharpie that man. Justin Ross is making this football team. I think they're gonna find a way to keep 7 receivers. They might. We've put 4 running backs in Sharpie for the longest time. I don't know about that. I don't know. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about LaMichael P. Ryan and Deneric Prince. Because I know Deneric Prince has shown some things this, especially early in camp. He's shown the soft hands out of the backfield, being that big of a guy, the explosion, all that stuff. I'm looking at it in the first 2 games. Like, Maddie, I think you said it. The moment's been too big for him, maybe, and he's looked like the moment's too big for him. He struggled again. I think he struggled carrying the football. I think he struggled on special teams, just tripping over himself on special teams. Granted, I mean, it's like a driving range out there, like that field in Arizona, but it's tough. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about Deneric Prince. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about it.
I thought Prince played better this week than he did last week. Like last week, I definitely thought I don't want to say the moment was too big, but like it's his first time playing in the NFL. It's different. Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. He's been watching these guys play his entire life, and now he's out there with them. So I think last week it was definitely some nerves or just some hesitancy. This week, I didn't see it as much. I mean, I thought he looked more ready to go. Even when he slipped, he tried to put his foot in the ground and really just accelerate. And then that led to this driving range field that we are talking about here. So,
divots everywhere. Just everywhere.
I don't think he was particularly great in this game. Like, I think we all saw that, or the early training camp hype of the receptions and all of the hype coming out of it. And he hasn't quite lived up to it. But I mean, he's a rookie, an undrafted free agent rookie that was still going out there and playing with this team. He scored his touchdown. He didn't look out of place at any point in time. He's still really big. He's still fast when he gets a runway. I just think we're starting to run into some of the limitations that he kind of had as a player that led to him being an undrafted free agent, and it's not matching up with the hype that I think we all just expected early on.
And that's where go, Craig. No, if you go, by all means, because I have some more thoughts too. But because go. Yeah, you got it.
He lost his kick returner role. Like, I mean, Richie James was the first guy up in kick return this week. That's a big deal, because I think that was the real reason that everybody was just like, oh, listen, Dave Toub loves this guy. So, you got to figure out a way to get him on the roster. Yeah, he looks good in camp as well. Even if he doesn't look great on the offense, in preseason, Dave Toub loves this guy. Now, all of a sudden, Richie James is the first guy out there who had a better return, in the first preseason game, comes out here, looks a little bit better as well. I wonder a little bit, like to Maddie's point there, if it just seems a little bit faster than he was expecting. Obviously in camp, they're not going to the ground. They're not doing some of the stuff that, they're doing, as far as, full physical contact, going 100% all the time. I think it shows up with him, unfortunately, which sucks because I really like him and I think he's a very fun player, but I feel a lot less comfortable putting him on the 53 after this week and after last week than I maybe did, during all the camp hype when we were seeing all the videos.
Sure. And some of that to be expected, but there were a lot more positives that came out of this week versus last week. Tucker, you got a little tidbit for us. Throw it in there.
Yes, I do. You know me, I'm back here scoping Twitter, seeing what Andy Reid's saying at the podium.
Tidbits.
Little some Tucker tidbits here.
Tucker D tidbits.
Tucker D tidbits, and the D stands for tidbits. This first one is from Jordan Foote. He tweets out Chiefs head coach Andy Reid says the team has no injuries to report tonight. That's good news for KC on the health front. And this one is from Matt Verderam. The Chiefs had 38 pass attempts tonight, and they allowed 0 quarterback hits.
Yeah. Let's talk. Can we talk?
That's it. Yeah.
Go.
O-line.
That was fun to watch.
Everyone,
Protection was
everyone
great.
talk at once. Let's go.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. Okay.
No, just you two.
Craig, you had it. You could have.
Just kidding. I
could down there.
Anyways, O-line.
No,
Phenomenal.
Fantastic.
We have some wonderful things.
There's a lot of good things to talk about with the offensive line. Pass protection was great. I mean,
who would have thunk?
Well, it's you hope. You
hope. Because you hope when you have a $500 million man back there.
Well, yeah, and Donovan Smith's rebound looks real through a small sample size. And Jawan Taylor has looked great in pass protection. He already has the snap count timed up perfectly because that man is getting out of his stance at an alarmingly fast clip. Good
At least
him.
one of those was a false start. At least one of those.
Challenging Lane Johnson for the title.
Yeah,
he is challenging Lane Johnson.
Him and Lane
title.
are there. But I mean, Maddie, how did you feel about this offensive line and honestly just the entire offensive line depth too?
I mean, I thought the first team offensive line was phenomenal. I thought last week the tackles had played pretty well in the first week, but I thought the interior wasn't so great. This week was a little bit different. I mean, the pass protection was great. I thought the run blocking took a step forward. We're all going to pay attention to the tackles, right? It's like there's no reason to skirt around it. Jawan Taylor moves like he's floating, right? When you watch him out there, it just looks like he's kind of floating. His athleticism is something that you probably can't compare to any Chiefs tackle recently besides maybe Eric Fisher. And even him, I just think he moves easier. He's just floating around all the time. And Donovan Smith is so strong. He's turning everything into a bar fight. Like he still looks like he's, I don't want to say struggling, but trying to get used to how the Chiefs like to pass protect, trying to get used to operating in space and just like straight back on some of these vertical sets. But he's doing a really good job framing up his blocks, being physical, kind of being that enforcer type offensive tackle. So I was very impressed with the first team offensive line. The Cardinals don't have the best pass rush, though, and this is something I talked about. I don't know if the offensive line is going to really get tested until the regular season, but hey, it's been all good things so far through 2 weeks for him.
I would like to formally issue an apology to Donovan Smith for doubting him because that man looks phenomenal. He's a different player. He alluded to the fact that I played through some injuries. Maybe I shouldn't have been out there, but I am who I am. I want to be on the field. I want to do all this stuff. He looks phenomenal. He looks like he's in great shape, playing physical. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I thought that the player that we saw last year was closer to the player that the Chiefs are going to get this year. Yeah, he's still working out some of the technique stuff. That's going to happen when you've got Patrick Mahomes back there. You saw Mahomes drifting a little further out of the pocket again. Guess what? It's because he feels comfortable doing it again. Maybe he didn't last year. Now all of a sudden he does. A large part of that is Jawan Taylor and Donovan Smith playing as well as they are. So, yeah, formal apology to Donovan Smith there. Just absolutely great so far.
I think it's just funny, I don't know if it's mixed messages. The Chiefs didn't send mixed messages because they're not sending public messages, but it's just funny the discourse and the way that the tackle position's been framed all offseason.
Oh my
because
gosh.
We
it's
had
saga.
Hey, Jawan, we had the Orlando Brown stuff, and then it was like Jawan Taylor, they're signing him for a big contract, but they're gonna move him to left tackle. He's gonna go play tackle. Or play on the left side. And then it was, maybe that was a little bit of just trying to trick people to,
it's like the Michael Scott, like snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
Yeah, it's just back and forth.
It's so
like
too much.
hey, look, they go through the draft process. Maybe they wanted a nerd tackle early. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But maybe saying Jawan Taylor should be your left tackle, maybe that was a reason to, take some people off the scent. And then they go and grab Donovan Smith, and we're like, okay, maybe this is. I don't know if we didn't go out and say this is Wanye Morris insurance, but it was definitely like this is a veteran that might be beat out of, like he can be beat out potentially. This is a guy that could potentially beat out still. That's not happening. He looks great. He's been great. I think he's been kind of locked in there from Jump Street. I don't think this was ever really actually a competition.
Nope. And I think I don't want to be premature in saying these things, but I even saw a viewer's comment bring that up. I think this is in the makings. I don't want to say it, but potentially in the makings of being one of the best offensive lines that Mahomes will play behind since he had Mitch Schwartz and since he had Fisher. And we went all the way back to Super Bowl 54. And then we had the disaster of Super Bowl 55.
Don't want to talk about it.
We don't want the scrambles, the
Haley,
running. It was terrible memories.
The joke is always, Craig, Maddie, Tucker, and me were on the offensive line for Mahomes during that Super Bowl. But now we have 5. So you're on there too. So Haley was
welcome aboard.
You're playing left tackle. Welcome to the group. That's why
you were Mike Rimmers.
I need more tacos for that. I'm gonna,
that's a good problem. The tacos we just had over here.
Okay. So. Anyways.
Tucker D.
Good things coming.
Tucker D. What?
This isn't a stat. This is Tucker D. quotes right now. This tweet also coming from our pal Jordan Foote. Patrick Mahomes says Justin Ross is, quote, a different receiver than anyone else the Chiefs have. Quote, we're going to keep throwing him out there and giving him chances, end quote.
Wow.
Sharpie, people.
You know what, though? What were we like a few days ago? Everyone was losing their mind over the fact that he was being carted off the field. And then we found out he was in the front of the cart. And then we found out that he was fine.
And he practiced literally less than 24 hours before going up in the cart.
This could be the guy.
He's
the people love him. He's a man of the people.
Get
that Sharpie.
He has the talent. He always has. I think
and
that's
now he has his chance. So
it seems like pretty lockstep. I'm more curious. I'm actually more curious how they get 7 on now.
Oh, I thought you were more curious about how to get his autograph with the Sharpie, but that was I was reading the wrong vibes. I'm sorry.
I need a break.
No, you don't. You're doing great.
Craig,
buddy.
Matt, take it away. I read the wrong vibes there.
No, it makes sense.
That's been happening a lot today.
I'm sorry. I forgot the cherries, man.
Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
We're back.
Happy Saturday. We're having a good time.
People pay us to do this. This is mind-boggling.
Preseason for everybody.
Welcome to our world, Haley. Welcome to our world.
You're getting a full KC Lab experience is what you're getting.
Man. Anyways, good times. It's won. So, cool. They beat the Cardinals, but still win.
In their second home.
Turning
into their second home.
On the Heart of America golf course.
I don't want that. I don't want that home. The carpet's all torn up. Should we talk a little bit about the defense?
You think there's hardwoods under there?
For the people being serious.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah, let's hear about the defense here. What did you think?
I thought that Keandre Coburn and Danny Shelton both had phenomenal games again.
Just those two?
Yes.
This is what we want. You're starting off defensive talk with second half, third, fourth string nose tackle talk.
Let's go.
Listen, I know my people. I thought that they were great. Like, I think we're to the point now. Derek Nottie is the clear starter at nose tackle. They trust him to be the starter. He's not playing as well as these other two guys right now. Now, granted, the level of competition that they're playing against is much different, but I want to see more Danny Shelton with the first team. I want to see Keandre Coburn get elevated up the depth chart a little bit. They look good. They're keeping the linebackers ultra clean right now. They're doing a phenomenal job of resetting the line of scrimmage. They're chasing stuff down. Coburn had 2 today where he basically strung the play along, made the play himself. They look great. We're to the point now where I think, we're talking about this QB2 battle. We should be talking about nose tackle 2 battle.
That's what the people want.
Welcome to my corner, Craig. I've been talking about this for a while. We talked about it earlier this week on the lab because Danny Shelton was so good. And then Kent had to kill my vibe and tell me, how do they get Danny Shelton and Keandre Coburn on this team? How do they keep, unless they're going to go 5 defensive tackles, how do they figure this out? And
It's
it's a problem because both are good. Danny Shelton and Keandre Coburn have both outplayed Derek Nottie and every other defensive tackle that has been able to suit up for a preseason game for the Chiefs so far. And it doesn't seem like there is a realistic way to probably get them both on there, especially when the defensive end room might be thin with some Charles Omenihu suspension stuff coming up. So it's interesting watching it because I thought both guys yet again were phenomenal. They have the size, they have the power. They're even giving you a little bit as a pass rusher, probably a little bit more than Derek Nottie has given at any point in time in the past 3 seasons for the Chiefs. So I understand Nottie's making the team. I understand he's going to start. He knows all the stuff. He knows all the calls. He's been around. I get it. But both those guys are playing better than him right now. Both those guys look better than he has any point in time in the past couple seasons. Let's find a way to get him out there. I mean, like, Danny Shelton's in shape. Danny Shelton's playing 8-9 plays in a row. Could you have imagined Danny Shelton playing 9 plays in a row last year?
He is in shape. He is also a shape. But so I get it. But no, he has played. No, he's right though. Like he has played better. And
absolutely.
And I think it is an interesting roster construction question. You know, just because the good thing is he's a veteran. They maybe can. Maybe they can. He's not going to go through waivers. So maybe they feel comfortable keeping him back in the roster. They can kind of clear something. Who knows? He might be another guy that might be willing to help them out a little bit. Or this is a guy that they might be willing to just say, hey, look, we like what we've seen out of you. You've had some injury concerns in the past. You haven't been able to, be consistently healthy. Maybe this is something we hold on to. We think we can get you on the practice squad and get you, utilized in some capacity somewhere down the road. I don't know. I think there's a lot of conference that can wind up being had about Danny Shelton. But you're right. The D2 or the DT nose tackle 2 competition, Craig. I'm really glad you let off with that one. Maddie, anything else on the defensive side of the ball that you found interesting?
I'm trying to think of something that fits along the line of third, fourth string nose tackles.
Yeah.
No,
important as that. That's the bar, Maddie. As important as second string nose tackle.
All right, I guess we're talking backup linebackers then.
No, I actually have a real question for you though. Pass rush I left a little something to be desired for me. How'd you feel about it?
Just want to jump to the pass rush, huh? Okay.
Yeah. I did. I had a question.
Well, the pass rush is about as good as our conversation has been about the pass rush so far. Which means it wasn't really there at all. And it was once again versus a not great offensive line unit. And I thought the pass rush really struggled to get home. Some of it was a lack of interior pressure. Some of it was a lack of pass rush lane responsibility. Guys were letting the quarterback escape around them, underneath them pretty frequently. But I still think the pass rush left, a good bit to be desired. I agree with you there, especially that first team. The first team pass rush didn't seem like they were getting much pressure very quickly in the game. It wasn't quite the ball wasn't coming out quite as fast as the Saints game. So I think you got to see them a little bit more. And it was not an inspiring performance early on.
It wasn't. It was a little bit concerning. It's almost like, hey, Steve Spagnuolo's done this before, so it's not that concerning. Having a blitz a ton. Basically, Shamar Connor was told. Yeah. They
mugged the A-gaps a lot.
They mugged them a lot. Even Mike Dana mugged the A-gaps on a dime rep. He's out there mugging A-gaps. But Shamar Connor was basically put on the field in the slot, and they just told him, hey, buddy, turn up. Let's go. You're just blitzing full time now. It felt like they're missing Chris Jones. And I know that is the most obvious statement in the world there, but they need somebody that forces teams to not be able to chip the edge, to not have to, not be able to leave guys in that can win one-on-ones in those situations. And we're seeing guys like Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who looked like he was a little bit tired from playing a ton of snaps last week, and especially on a bad field there. I understand him being a little more cautious coming off of a knee injury or a leg injury there. I'm not reading too much into his game today, other than to say, hey, he got chipped a lot by running backs coming out of the backfield. He saw a lot of attention out there. And so that left one-on-ones with a lot of other positions, and they didn't win. You didn't see Joshua Kaindoh, Malik Herring, BJ Thompson did come up with a sack near the end of the game there. But, guys like that we've kind of placed this extra onus on to be complementary pass rushers here, We're just not seeing it so far in the preseason. Yeah, it'll come. Steve Spagnuolo is going to dial up different blitz packages that are going to be game specific and offensive line specific here. It's not just going to be, send the hounds like they are right now, but it does leave a little bit to desire when you're watching that and you're seeing these edges just not really be able to get the kind of pressure that you'd hoped.
You know what else is useful? When you touch a quarterback, tackling him.
Yeah, that
It does
helps.
help.
Yeah.
Well, it's preseason for the Chiefs. Their starters are on a snap count. We're on a minutes count today. It is time for the Toast Game show, or the Toast Game presented by Ben Holiday, bottled in bond bourbon. So, Hayley, you're new to this. I want to welcome you to the Toast Game
Thank
session.
you.
What we all do is we go around. We do we're all going to do a toast
Okay.
to a
I've done one.
player, any player. Yeah, I'm sure you that sounded that. Never mind. We're gonna all pick one player or whoever you want, and you're gonna toast them.
Okay.
So or you could be a position group, whatever you want. Do you want the honors first? Or do you want us all to go first?
Oh, no. I'll go first.
Go
Ladies
for
first,
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to toast to Mr. Bouchel.
Okay.
Good luck beating out Mahomes.
That's perfect. That's a great
He's a
start
gamer.
right there.
Best of luck. I hope you win. I love your hair and I hope you win.
I'm gonna go. We're gonna let Craig go last. I'm gonna go Justin Watson, touchdown from Patrick LaVon Mahomes, just continuing to prove the point that he is going to be on this roster, and a lot of people are gonna have to get over it.
I like that.
Justin Watson, congratulations on the touchdown. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for coming to the good side.
All right, Maddie, what you got?
Oh, well, I'm glad that when you explained what a toast is to people that you let them know that I'm allowed to pick entire position groups. So I just want that to be on record. This has been recorded that I'm allowed to pick more than one player. This was straight from your mouth, Kent.
We'll be
Everyone
here.
but Maddie is allowed to.
Fill up my cup.
I'm doing the entire offense, every offensive tackle. Every offensive tackle
my
I thought
gosh.
showed some flashes. They did some stuff that was good. We talked about Donovan Smith and Jawan
Is he gonna
Taylor.
name them all?
Prince
Yeah,
Tiga Winogo switched to the right side. I think he's probably their best backup left tackle, but they played him on the right side. And he still looked pretty good there. Wanya Morris got in late in the game. Lucas Niang got the second team reps at left tackle. Good job, offensive tackles. I thought they all kind of played pretty well, especially in the run game. I thought they were doing good. So position group, offensive tackles.
Not yet, Craig, because Tucker D. Toast is also due for this as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I got to get my.
Toasty Franklin.
If you guys are familiar to this program, you know what my toast is. To good health.
I for sure
It's a good
thought
health.
Gabbert. I mean, I was like, go
We
Mizzou.
put him on the spot one time.
Oh.
All right, Tucker, your turn. Good health.
No injuries in today's game. That's big.
Oh, that is true.
That's true. No
I'm
injuries.
25.
It's a health.
I have nothing
It's a
to
good
worry
health.
about.
It works.
All right, Craig,
Youth.
bring us home for real.
All right. My toast game is for Shamari Connor, a guy that maybe during camp we didn't hear a ton about. Today gets out there with the first team in the nickel as the nickel slot. Yes, L'Jarius Sneed is hurt, but then cycled through to second team deep safety, played a lot of alignments. And oh yeah, he was a first team vice. That man is in Sharpie. Shout out to Shamari
Sharpie.
Connor.
Cheers.
Wow.
Mm.
Craig with the real good toast there. You
No,
know?
he's-
you did your homework. You
he's a
showed
professional.
up and you showed.
That's why he was the closer.
That's why we knew we had
The
to bring
anchor,
it home with
bringing
him.
it home.
Yep.
Well, I think it's
Tried
time
to
we
hide
bring
me
it
in the
home,
middle.
Kent.
I love it. I
Right?
think that's a great idea.
Boys at home, thanks for joining. Boys, oh gosh. Boys at home. Thanks for joining us, guys. and to our viewers at home. Appreciate you joining us. Cheers. Have a great night. The Chiefs won. We got one more to get done. And then the Chiefs are going to kick off the regular season here in KC. We hope you always join us. We're always going to keep you updated with everything you need to know about Chiefs Kingdom. We'll see you next time.
Shout out, boys at home.